Welcome back, my friends. Thanks for tuning in. This is where you come for all things North County, San Diego. In this video, we are going to get into what's happening right now in the Carlsbad market. Over the past few months, we've seen a lot happening within every market, and every single, even zip codes within Carlsbad are a little bit different. So as we're out there, as we are showing houses, as we are selling houses out there, we're going to let you know what's happening, boots on the ground. We're going to go through some visual stuff just because I like visual stuff. It's easy to kind of tell the story, but we're going to let you know actually what's happening and kind of the story behind the graphs and behind the data. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Chris Erickson.
Loren Sanders, got my headphones in now, ready to go.
All right, ready to rock.
Let's go. Yeah.
And we're with the Beach Life Group here in North County, San Diego. So if you guys are looking to make a move and sell your house anywhere in North County, we got your back. So hit us up, call, text, email.
Cool.
So the first, we're just going to go over it's kind of funny, the numbers we get from the associations and stuff are kind of lagging indicators. So everything we show you, a lot of the stuff, except from Altos Research, which is what some we subscribe to, and they just have like weekly data, which is really nice because it kind of tells the story of what's actually happened like right now. I mean, we could tell you what's happening right now, but if you're looking at any data sets on kind of a lot of these sites, they're kind of lagging indicator or kind of lag what's actually happening out there. So anyways, July, I think one of the most important numbers going through all this stuff, you kind of look at it, but is the average percent of list price. And we'll show you the next chart too coming up of what's actually happening right now too, compared to last year, where the market as a whole, if you were a seller, you were putting your house on the market, you were getting multiple offers that first weekend, selling your house well above asking price. Right now, that trend is coming down. So percent over list price is coming down quite significantly. You seen the same thing, Loren?
Absolutely. In the tracking numbers I do, some of these numbers I don't like. Like you just mentioned, one of the problems with it is median days on the market. Some people use average days on the market. And the other problem with the average days on the market is people have a house that goes canceled and relisted.
Yeah,
I saw one yesterday. It shows 1 day on the market, and it's been on since April. So the numbers are skewed. So when we get to the Altos numbers, that'll explain that a little better. When you see 40 days average market time or 45 days, that's part of the challenge. I think we're at 20. I run year to date all the time, and I run this last time. All the zip codes combined, there's 474 properties that have closed escrow so far year to date. And when you look at the year to date number, it's up higher, like 105, 106 list price to sell price. When you slice it down to 30 days, it's 100 point, just right. Basically, list to ask price is pretty close to the same, less than 1% over asking. So
yeah.
The direction on that's been drifting downwards.
Yeah, and it's weird. So when we were writing offers back in kind of March, April, May, it was definitely at or above list price just because there was so much competition. So as our buyers were out there, they had to, if they wanted the property, they had to usually bid above the asking price. The latter, or kind of those middle months, June and July, it was kind of what we saw a lot was kind of right at that ask. That's when we started to see the market kind of shift a little bit. And now the last few properties we've gotten into escrow have been at or below the list price. So it just kind of goes to show you that people, the big thing that we always say is that supply and demand. But another thing that has to do with that, which affects something we'll talk about in a little bit, is interest rates, affects the payments. People live in the payment, not the price, meaning that you live in what you pay per month. So do that calculation as opposed to, obviously the purchase price is important because during resale, how much you're going to profit, all that kind of stuff. But actually your monthly payment is one of the most important numbers.
The velocity of the market's definitely changed.
Yeah.
The pace is slowing.
And this is just another one too. Days on market, kind of what's going on. You can see days on market going up and the number of homes sold going down, or the percent above list price sold. And here's the Altos information. So any sellers out there, take a snapshot of this because we like to show these kind of charts every time we do these market updates. So we just did one for Encinitas a few weeks back. Now, Carlsbad's a little different. It's got the 4 zip codes. So you can kind of see it's just a market action indicator. Kind of, you asked, how's the market? It shows you, are we heavy sellers? Are we heavy buyers? It takes into account demand. Over the last few months, this ticker has been trending down. So it's going a little bit more towards that buyer's market side. You can see all of them in here too are going that way. So just indications for sellers that we are seeing that shift.
Down, when we say down, it was up in the 90s.
Correct.
I think virtually all the zip codes were in the 90s. So we're in 30 is where you reach the market where it's even, and then below 30 is the buyer's market. But I don't, I think right now is a good buyer's market based on recent memory. If you just look the past 6 months or a year, it was way tougher to get anything at asking. Now we're getting things below asking, and also getting repairs, termite work. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can get done as a buyer now, where just 4 months ago was you wouldn't even be in the drawing for the property if you were asking for things like that. So.
Yeah, and skewing, since this is a channel for mostly sellers right here in North County, San Diego, what would you tell them kind of regarding what we're seeing in this as far as pricing, condition, kind of what's the most important thing you think for sellers right now, just to set expectations? Because if you were thinking about listing your home, like we were mentioning, it's not usually just an instant thing. Sellers kind of sit on it, kind of see what's going on. They see the market going up. Okay, we're good. But if you're making that decision, 2-3 months ago compared to now, what's the biggest kind of change expectation wise you think sellers should expect?
2 things they need to think about. One of them is it's going to take longer. And number 2 is you're going to have fewer. Actually, I'm going to give you a bonus one. You're going to have fewer offers. So you're going to have less buyers to choose from. Hopefully you get an offer. And then the last thing is the price. Pricing it's a dynamic market right now. So, I mean, I saw a property go on near one of my listings at 2,699, and within 10 days of it being on the market, they lowered it $200,000.
Yeah.
And then it went right into escrow within a few days of that. So pricing's key for any buyers out in the market right now. Or, we're all looking at the news if we're thinking of buying or talking to people. And I know buyers probably get some strange looks from friends if you're going to buy a house right now, because it seems like it's not a great time, which is probably the best time. When it seems like it's not a great time, it's a good time to buy if it fits with your financial, with your plan. I saw 2 interesting articles recently, and I'll leave it with this. And so this is the kind of things buyers are seeing. If you're a seller, think about this. One of them was 72% of buyers regret buying a home. And so I'm like, well, what have they been in it a week or 2 weeks? I mean, and so my take on that was 100% of buyers regret buying homes based on headlines or the news, because at some point, if that's the only reason you're buying a home, then it probably might not be a great decision. But then also the news, you got to look at the headlines and then get some context. There was an article in CNBC, which is, supposedly, well, I guess it's business news is the best way to put it. And it said, the headline was, home prices dropped for the first time in 3 years, month to month loss. And then it says dash within the headline, largest decline since 2011. And so you're thinking, holy crap, what's going on? And you get further in the actual article and it says prices dropped 0.77%. I'm expecting something like 3, 4, 5, 6, 8%. It's 0.77%. So the headlines don't always tell the story. And that's why we're always looking like we're doing here, talking through the data, but looking at the data, looking at it from what is it right now? What is it 30 days, the past 30 days of closings versus year to date? What changes are we seeing? And so if you're a seller, the best thing is to lead the market, is to get ahead of where it's potentially going. So if you're selling right now, look at the comparables, and you probably want to back it off a little bit from what the actual comparables are, depending on how distant they are from the time you're listing your house. But if you back it off a little below that, then you'll probably be good. Homes that are priced right now are selling relatively quickly. The ones that are sitting, and when I say sitting, the average market time is so skewed in the way that the MLS looks at it.
I'll bring up the next chart real quick too. This goes on to your point of pricing it properly. And right now, like I said, everybody has seen the prices going up. So the most sellers that are thinking, they're like, well, I'm going to price it above the next one, which makes sense. The last one sold for this, the last one sold for lower, the last one sold for lower. So it just kind of keeps going up. But once we hit that tipping point of kind of prices changing a little bit and the market changing a little bit, you can see the price reductions going down. So right now, in the last 7-day average, this is for 92009. Like I said, every zip code's a little different, but 50% of homes have seen a price reduction, which you can see from the last, besides that big spike, which is December. So I'm not sure where there's just less homes on the market. So people trying to definitely move them pretty quick, but so that's a little skewed there. But other than that, you can see it kind of trending up from this tipping point down where it says kind of May, like a little bit before May, when we started seeing a lot of those price reductions. And then this goes on to your days on market, which you were just talking about. So
we're more like 45 days, 47 days, which, given history that's more of a normal range. Mm-hmm. I actually look back at, just for Carlsbad, because I like Carlsbad so much, I ran all the way back year to date, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. Back to 2012. So what do you think the prices were, median price in all of Carlsbad? And right now it's 1,778,500. So I'll give you that currently. What do you think it was year to date in 2012? Same
2012 year to date, with detached homes?
It's all of that is detached homes, yeah. Yeah,
it was probably like in the 750 range.
Close, 665.
All right.
And they were selling for 648.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're 2.5, 3 times up from there. So and then if you just go back to 2020, we were at 1.1 million.
Yeah.
And so this is $678,000 more than 24 months ago.
Yeah.
So everything's got to go in context. We're going to drop nationwide prices drop from the peak. What they're talking about, first drop in 3 years. That just means another anomaly. Every month they were going up for 3 years straight. That's what low interest rates and gasoline on the low interest rates and no inventory, all those things just created this market that we're probably never going to see in our lifetime again.
I was going to say, have you seen the market in all your time? I've been doing it for 7-8 years. You've been doing it much longer. Have you seen it move this quickly in your time, as far as up and down and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it did during 2008-9. When I had listings on in escrow and things, and stock market was crashing back then. It was a whole different market. The stock market's not doing. It's still doing okay for the if you look over the past 3 years, but it hasn't done great this year, mainly because interest rates are up so much.
Yeah.
So they're not only slowing housing, which they're home buyers, but they're also slowing, the economy, which they're trying to do. So hopefully that works soon.
Yeah.
And they get inflation under control.
And then one point on the interest rates, I think that's a big driver for demand for the buyer side, because obviously, like, you live in the payment and not the price kind of thing that we were talking about earlier. So at like a current, this just kind of illustrates on the left side, you'll see kind of at a 5%-ish or 5.3% what your monthly payment would be. The ballpark. This is just all ballpark, but just for visual reference. The bottom number, that's 6,500, is if the interest rates went up to 10%. So it's obviously about double where we are now.
That's my first home. You're in the first one. I bought my first house. It was around 10. It was double digits.
Yeah. See, historically, has been this high before. Prices were a little bit different then, obviously. But if at that same point, you could just see kind of the purchasing power of buyers goes down significantly. So to get back to that basically 4,100 per month mark, your loan amount would be 475 as opposed to 750. So that's why we saw when interest rates were 3%, went all the way up to 6% in such a short amount of time, the market, in my eyes, kind of ground to a halt as far as that's when the market time started creeping up. That's when homes started sitting. That's when we started seeing those price reductions to sell those homes. But it just, like I said, interest rates are a huge driver for the current buyers out there. So if you are a seller, keep eye on those. If you are a buyer as well, you already are, I'm sure.
Yeah. So the one thing sellers can do to combat that, you can compete with what the new home builders do is as they've seen these interest rates dropping, they got to add incentives. One of the incentives they'll add is maybe they prepay the person's interest for 3 years, pay down their interest. So instead of them being at 5.3, it's like they're at 3 and 3.5 or 3 3/4. They basically what we used to do, and what you can still do is put up some money. And there's calculations for all this. If it's something you want to talk about with your agent, you should, when you get ready to sell. Hey, what if we try to buy down the interest rate for the buyer for 3 years? Or sometimes they do it. It's costly to do it forever, but they do a buy down, and it basically just front loads. If the interest is at 5 and you want to buy it down so it's like at 3, figure out what the difference is for that period of time, the interest portions of it, and it's whatever. You're $1 million loan, it's $28,000, and so if you could get your price you want versus negotiating down, and they can get a payment that makes them fit in the property easier, and they can make a case for it too. Hey, we're saving some money for a while. All those things can. There's more than one way to deal with these kind of issues rather than just drop prices straight up too.
So there are solutions for any sellers out there. One of the key things is obviously pricing, as always, even more so now, and setting those expectations of it's not going to sell that first weekend. It's not going to, well, I mean, it could. It's all, but coming into this last market, everything sold in the first weekend. Now it's kind of the properties that are dialed in, that are priced property, that are prepped properly, that are promoted properly, that are getting those offers still in that first weekend, maybe the first 2 weekends. But times are changing. So if you guys have any questions, be sure to reach out, and then definitely check out our channel. We're making these videos every single week for you guys, let you know exactly what's going on in your neck of the woods. So if you want to know what's going on in your neighborhood, drop a little comment below so we know we can cover that in the next one. We make these every week. So anyways, we'll catch you on the next one.